Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I am reviewing something which I don't like doing. This is the ThunderX3 Core gaming chair. This is part of their ultimate range of chairs, and straight out of the way I'll say why I don't like reviewing these things is because this room that we do the videos in is very, very small. So actually doing anything with a chair is really difficult to do, but it is supremely comfortable. So we're going to go through today, talk about some of the specifications. I've shot some B-roll already so you can see how the different pieces work, and we can go through and discuss whether or not I think this chair is going to be right for you. Now we should start off first of all with the price. At the moment here in the UK, this is retailing for somewhere in the region of about £300, which is somewhat of an investment, but ultimately if you're someone like myself who spends an incredible amount of time sat in front of your computer, this may be the difference between you seeing a chiropractor and having a happy, restful life. So yeah, that is basically where it lies. You look after your back, it look after you. If you don't, if you sit in some uncomfortable, awkward chair, then you are going to pay the price at some point. So with that out of the way, let's talk about this chair. So this is the ThunderX3 Core. This is the PU leather version. There's actually 3 versions of this chair available. So if you're maybe not too keen on the kind of blacked out look, there's other options available. There's actually a couple of different styles as well. So this is actually the modern style. There's also the racer style, which looks a little bit more, let's say, gamery. And also there is the loft version as well. Now the loft version comes in both black and grey, whereas the racer version comes in black and blue. And the one we're looking at today, the modern version, comes in black, red, and also blue. Now, for me personally, I think actually the black version is the nicest, and actually it's very easy maintenance. The PU leather that they're using on this is supremely soft and smooth. It really is a joy to sit on. The technology which has gone into it, I'm not sure how they've done it, but they've made it so that it's as warm and as inviting as a fabric chair, but as resilient as a leather chair. So yeah, they've done some pretty good work there, and it is extremely comfortable. We've got all the cool features that you expect from a premium chair. There is their ergonomic Sync 6 6-way adjustability. So you've got 6 levels of adjustment, and we'll go through some of those as we look at the controls on the side. But ultimately it's going to come down to the fact that this chair is extremely flexible in more ways than one. So the first thing actually of the 6-way technology is the fact that the actual seat base moves with the backrest. So quite often you get these chairs where you've got a fixed seat. You can do some adjustment to it manually, but when you're reclining in a chair, maybe you're just had enough of looking at spreadsheets, or you've just lost your favorite game and you kind of just cast yourself back into your chair. The back might go back, but the seat base stays where it is. So it kind of does an awkward thing on your spine and also on your pelvis. Now with this chair, it actually has a joined mechanism. So as you tilt back, the actual seat base tilts back as well. You're probably seeing this for some B-roll. Now this is something for me is an absolute game changer. This makes it much, much more comfortable in my personal opinion, and hopefully you will do too if you pick up one of these chairs. Now the reason why they've got all this flexibility is the fact that they've used a steel frame construction. So it's really, really solid. You can have weight limits of up to 150 kilos, which is somewhere, I think it's about 330 pounds or so. I'm not entirely sure. I'll probably put a lot of this information on the screen just in case I get it wrong. So even if you are a little bit on the heavier side, then I think this is going to be absolutely fine for you. Now myself, I'm not entirely sure how many pounds or kilos I am. I'm somewhere around the 14 stone mark, so I'm by no means a lightweight, and this chair puts up with it no problem at all. And in fact, actually, I quite often use it as a stepping stool to grab things up on the shelves behind me. So even though you shouldn't do that, especially on a chair with casters on, this is really strong, and even with me with my trainers or my shoes on, standing on the seat base doesn't damage the fabric in any way, shape or form. Just a quick brush off after and all the dust is gone, which is excellent news. Whilst we're talking about the steel frame construction, we should also talk about the base as well. So the base is actually improved. So the base itself is aluminium. These casters on it though, they've done slightly bigger casters on it, which gives you a real sense of stability, hence probably why I feel so confident using it as a stepping stool. So we've got 75mm casters on here, nice and wide, and actually they've even gone to the trouble of actually adding some of the design language from the seat itself actually onto the wheels, which is incredible. And they do kind of look something like the Cybertruck design as well. So you've got some type of woven carbon fiber effect on there, which is replicated along the sides of the seat also, breaking up the plain black. So before we go on and talk about the adjustability on the chair and what you can do in terms of up, down, left, right and all that kind of stuff and the 4D armrests, let's talk about why this chair is supremely comfortable. And that is down to their technology built into the lumbar support. Now the lumbar support on this chair is fixed in place, but it's not fixed as you'd expect it to be. It actually does have movement, and they've patented their Core Ready 360 lumbar support, and I'm not surprised. It works very, very well indeed. Now, I do get really frustrated. There's a lot of gaming chairs on the market where they give you a cushion or pillow, something similar to this, although slightly smaller, with elastic bands and all that kind of stuff. Or sometimes you've got like a ratchet thing on the side where you can increase it or lower it. With this, it's actually a spring-loaded cushion type design. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know why no one's done this before. So there's actually a spring behind the actual lumbar support, which is really nicely tailored to your back. So no matter what you're doing, if you're moving side to side, up or down, stretching backwards, doing whatever, it's always there, right in the right place for your back, because it is on that kind of moving platform. So wherever you go, the lumbar support goes, which is great. And often when you get out of a chair, a gaming chair, which has got one of these cushions, you kind of slot it behind you and you get up and it falls down, you've got to keep on readjusting it. I've never had to adjust this at all, which I think is the kind of the reason behind it. You just forget it's there, but you know it's there because you just feel really nice, very supported, no matter what you're doing. Quite often when I'm leaning over, picking up bits I've dropped, screws, etc., you kind of need to put those twists on your back. But even doing that, you've still got really nice full support on your back, which I appreciate as someone who suffers from back problems from time to time. And if that wasn't enough, you've also got support for your head and neck. Now you've probably noticed already, there is a cushion behind here, which actually is removable. So this comes off, there's a strap on the back. This is made out of their special latex design. So this is a latex memory foam. You've also got some really small detailing on here. So they haven't gone ahead and plastered their name and logo on everything. And to be honest with you, unless you actually knew the brand or had a close-up look, you'd never know what brand this comes from. So ThunderX3 have done a great thing here. Very minimal stitching on here, just to give a little bit of heads up of who it's come from. And the same goes for the seat bases, a little bit of embroidery on there as well, just with the name on. But other than that, that is kind of pretty much it. But this is really, really nice. So you've got this really nice squishy latex memory foam. Just feels wonderful. It's like one of those really expensive mattresses you get for your bed, but it's very, very comfortable. And the design being, so you've got these flared sections. So when it actually goes around the back of your head or your neck, it kind of holds you in position, or at least it can do. Now for me, I'm one of those people that quite often maybe falls asleep in my chair a little bit. And this is really comfortable. It's like the best pillow you've ever used. Very, very nice indeed. It's kind of a shame that they've put it as removable. I'd have kind of liked it to be fixed in place, because otherwise the lumbar support does push you out quite a little way from the actual seat itself. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of room. If I lean back, it's actually hard to get my head on the backrest. So you do really need to have this in. So I think really they should have added it in as a permanent fixture, but at least with this, I suppose you can wash it and all that kind of stuff. And when it's there, oh, it is absolute bliss. It really is. When I come home from work on a Sunday after doing some work in the shop, I just sit back in this chair and literally a few seconds and I'm out like a light. It's really, really comfortable. You will love it. But also as well, when I wake up in the morning, I'm coming up to do some YouTube stuff, come down, sit on my chair, it's great. Have my cup of tea, do my questions, all that kind of stuff. And it's just great, just really comfortable, really supportive. You can't really ask for more. And also the flared sides on the back for your shoulders, again, if you're leaning back, very, very comfortable. And everything about this chair just screams quality and comfort. Even things down to the actual armrests. And the armrests are an absolute treasure, they really are. So they've got the same sort of material, the latex memory foam that you've got in the pillow, but actually in the armrest. And it's weird because it feels very solid, but yet it's very soft at the same time. Again, using this PU leather, really, really good. It does have a tiny little squeak to it from time to time. I think it's mostly because it's actually hitting the back of this cupboard here. So there's the odd creak to it, but yeah, I can put up with that. That is, if that's the worst thing it does, a little bit of creaking on that kind of PU leather, then yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. So when it comes to the armrest, I'll try and get some B-roll of this because you're not going to be able to see it particularly easily, but you've got 4 dimensions, so you can actually move through time with these as well. So you've got the obvious things, so you've got the lift up and down, little lever on the side, that works very well, and there's incremental adjustments, as you can possibly hear, nice clicky mechanism. When it's at the top, or in any position, you can also move it forward and backwards. So if you're maybe gaming or sleeping, as I tend to, you can move this. So actually, that's really comfortable. I might just stay like this. Yeah, that's the end of the video. No, I'm only joking. It is really, really nice and supportive, and you don't get those kind of red marks on your arms and stuff you get from other chairs. Anyway, so forward and backwards, you've got some movement forward and backwards. Not a great deal, but certainly enough to make you comfortable. You also got, so you can twist in or you can twist out, and also there's another button on here so you can move it in and out as well. So if you're a slightly larger chap, or maybe you're a slightly slimmer person, then you can just press that button in and you can slide it in so it's a little bit more snug. So lots of adjustment there, as you'd expect with a chair of this kind of price tag. Now when it comes to the back adjustment, there is an absolute ton. Again, going back to that Sync 6 mechanism they've got in this chair. So obviously you've got up and down movement. I'll put all the measurements on the screen as well because I can't remember them off the top of my head. And to be honest with you, it probably doesn't matter a great deal. When a chair is this comfortable, it's kind of other things you don't really worry about. I personally would have liked the chair to go maybe just slightly lower so that my legs were completely flat with the ground. I do find if I'm not wearing shoes or trainers, it is a little bit on the high side, but you don't have to worry too much about that because you do also have, as part of that Sync 6 adjustment, you have the ability to tilt the chair slightly forward at the front. So if you're maybe very kind of upfront with your gaming or you're typing or whatever, and you have that kind of hunched over thing, you can actually adjust the seat base and tilt it forward so it still supports your legs and your back and all that kind of stuff. But if you're a more reclined person, you can tilt it back and there is adjustment and you can lock it into place, or you can have it as I've got it set at the moment, so it actually changes depending on your position. So as I move backwards, the chair back goes back and the base starts tilting. It's a really nice experience. It genuinely is. So other adjustment you've got on there, so you've got adjustment in tension. So when you actually have it in the unlock position, you can have it so that it kind of, it's quite nice like a rocking chair, or you can have it so that it's really stiff, so it requires a bit more pressure, a bit more supportive for your back. If you're having one of those bad back days, which we all tend to have from time to time, put it in the most supportive mode, and literally every time you move, it's just right there in your back. It's really, really nice. Other adjustments you've got for the seat base. So the seat base itself, not only does it recline and go backward and tilt and all that kind of stuff, it also moves forward and backwards as well. So if you've got slightly longer limbs, you maybe want it to go a little bit further, or perhaps you suffer from dead legs because the chair base is too long and you want it to come back a bit so your legs aren't kind of poked in the back. You can move it forward and backwards as well, which is really nice to do. And of course you've got the adjustment for the actual back itself, so you can recline, you can lock it into position. All the switches and dials and bits and bobs are on the bottom there. They are a little bit on the small side. One slight complaint I would say is I would have liked the controls to actually come out a little bit wider. You do find when you're actually in the chair, you're kind of grasping around to grab them, and yeah, it's not too bad. And just adjusting that now, yeah, I can do that. It's absolutely fine, but I would have preferred them to be just a little bit wider. I think that would have made a lot of sense, saving you having to kind of do that with your back, which sometimes, again, if you suffer with bad back, just that kind of leaning over can cause problems. Now, other things, obviously, when you get this chair, it's bloody heavy, so have someone to help you with it, ideally, if you can. We have done a full put together video of this, assembly video, so if you want to check that out, I'll link that in the video description, just see how easy it is. I should say, without watching the whole video, it's very, very well made, and they've made it so that all the bolts are basically the same, or at least the same screw type or head type, so you just need one like Allen key style to do the whole job from start to finish, which is really cool. And you also get spares as well, so every single one of the bolts used, there's one spare in the box, so if you lose one or damage one, whatever, although realistically I don't see how you would because they're extremely well made. And you get the owner's manual, tells you how everything works and how the adjustment works, all that kind of stuff, so you can have a look through that. Something else which you get, which I don't think you get in all countries, but certainly you do here in the UK, is this. Now this, you're probably wondering, because it's been here for ages, what is it? Now this is actually a footrest, but it's a multi-purpose footrest. So there's various things you can do with this. So again, you've got a little bit of logo going on there. This is in a kind of nice velour. The reason I haven't had this out much is because it's going to be a magnet for cat hair, so I've tried to keep it pristine for the review, but anyway, there you go. So this, various functions. So there is actually a section here, so Velcro, so you can actually unzip that. So if you want, you can just use this pad for something or other, but this section here is designed as a footrest. So if you have it in this position, you can put your feet on there and the soles of your feet will curve around this section and you can rock it a little bit, which is nice. Some people prefer that underneath their desk. If you want the other way, so you want your feet to be nice and flat, just flip it around the other way and you've got this really nice grippy base section. So you can put your feet on there flat and you can kind of rock them as you would. Again, some people find that particularly comfortable. I've not had the benefit of using this because I don't have the room to stretch my feet out under the desk, sadly. But what I do have room for is for gaming. So if you flip it over, you can actually use this as well as a support for your wrists. So if you're in your chair and you're gaming, you don't want to have that fatigue in your arms because you're gaming all the time, then for console gamers, this is going to be great. You're going to love this. This is really nice and comfy, supporting those wrists and taking the weight off your shoulders, again, protecting your back and your core. Right, so I've probably bored the bejesus out of you by now, and if you haven't, if you've got this far in the video, well done, thanks very much, and maybe consider liking the video and subscribing as well. That would be very useful. Ultimately, this chair, I think, to wrap things up, it's one of those things that when you spend money on a chair, it's always one of those gambles. Are you going to like it? Is it going to work for you? Can I get better? Now, can you get better? That is going to be very much a subjective thing. I've tried a great number of gaming chairs over the past 6, 7 years, however long it's been. And before that, obviously, I've sat in chairs all my life, pretty much. This one comes very close to being the best I've ever tried. There has been other kind of reclining chairs, more kind of sofa or DFS kind of stuff. But in terms of actually a practical office work stroke gaming chair, I think this one comes very close to being the best I've ever tried. And for the price tag, around about £300 here in the UK. Yes, there are more expensive chairs on the market which are not as comfortable. I'm not going to name names. And I certainly think that ThunderX3 have done a fantastic job on this. I'm actually genuinely looking forward to see what they come out with next. Personally, for me, I think I would like to see this maybe in a slightly smaller design. Specifically for me, for the studio here, that would be great. And possibly one in pink for CAF, that would be awesome. If you can arrange one of those ThunderX3 Core, yeah, we'd be very appreciative. So yeah, overall, I think this is a fantastic chair. Very, very comfortable. I'm kind of lost for words for it, really. It is excellent. And I strongly suggest if you are in the market for a chair, you're looking at spending around about £300 to £400, give ThunderX3 a chance. It may not be a brand you've necessarily heard of, but certainly once you've sat in it, you will know and you will remember them. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap things up. Oh, I should say as well, it does come with a 3-year warranty. So for those who are concerned about warranty situations, all that kind of stuff, when it comes to the actual fabrics and stuff, I'm not entirely sure. They're not overly clear on that on the website. But if I do find any information, I will put it in the video description. Although realistically, because of the great build quality and all the adjustment on there, which seems to be extremely solid, I don't think you're going to have any problems with that whatsoever. So that has been the ThunderX3 Core PU leather gaming chair. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.